Hi everybody, it's Carly at Let's Bead. Welcome to Sunday night's project, and I'm just getting set here, so bear with me a second. Getting the other light on. All right. So when you join, say hello. Let me know you're here, where you're watching from, so I know the comments are working. Are you guys having a good weekend? I hope. It's almost over. They go by so fast. All right, so tonight we're gonna do a necklace, and we're gonna use some of these Czech Melon beads. We got these in, and they're so pretty, and they've got large holes. So I thought they would be fun to use, and we've got them in different colors. And then we're gonna use some leather. And this is 1.5 millimeter. This is natural leather. I like the natural. I'm just drawn to that more than the other. And what else do we have here? We've got some seed beads. I might use these. These are 6/0s. They're metal beads, but they've got a larger hole that the leather would probably fit on. And what else do we have? We have some flat spacers. So I'm going to use those. And then this is going to be the focal. This is a antique copper Crescent, and it's 30 millimeters, and it's got holes in the top. So these would be great for earrings, for a pendant, but tonight I'm going to use it for a pendant. And then I've got this Czech glass shell bead. We're going to use that possibly with the Crescent. The melon beads are also Czech glass. I'm not sure if I said that earlier, but they're Czech glass. So we've got those. And then I have a toggle for the clasp. But I also grabbed this because I thought I might try it with this because it's something that I haven't demonstrated before on video. So I thought it might be fun to use this as an option and show you how to do it with leather without using a jump ring. So I'm probably going to use this for the closure. And then I've got some jump rings, 18 gauge, 6 millimeter, which I tend to use those the most. And then these are 19 gauge, 4 millimeter. I wanted some small ones that I'm going to put on the Crescent up at the top. So we've got those. And off to the side, I've got some wire if I need it, and some soft flex if I need it, but I don't think I'm going to. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is we know that we're going to have to put jump rings on the Crescent. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. And I'm just going to grab my pliers. So I'm using my flat nose pliers. Got 2 pairs. And I'm going to put the small jump ring on. So for the jump rings, if you haven't seen me do this before, but you want to open them without distorting them. So you're going to put and I'll zoom in here in just a second. You're going to put the center up at like midnight, okay? And my pliers are larger, so I'm just using the corners. You're not going to pull apart this way. You're going to use a twisting motion. If you try to pull apart, you're going to distort the ring. So I'm just going to twist gently, and I'm just opening enough so that I can get it through that Crescent. And so I'm just going to slide that on. And with the smaller jump rings, it's a little more awkward because your tool can get in the way. Oh, and that one went flying, so I'm just going to grab another one. And we'll try this again. And I'm just going to open. And then we're going to slide it on into the hole on the Crescent. And then I'm just going to close it the same way. So, but I'm going to go past the opening just to make sure that it gets nice and snug. And I can feel that it's there and you don't see any gaps. So I know that's closed. So I've got that one on, then I'm going to do the other one. And if you guys have any questions along the way, don't be afraid to ask. If you joined a little bit later and you missed the beginning, I'm Carly from Let's Speed, and we are located in East Rochester, New York. And if you haven't been in to see us, we're in the Piano Works Mall, but come in and see us. All right, so now I'm just putting on the other one, and I'm going to close it the same way. All right, so that's closed, no gaps. All right. So now that I've got those on, I'm going to add another jump ring because I need another one to connect. Originally, I tried I was going to put like a wrap loop connection here to make it, a little bit more secure of a connection, but it looked really funny because the wrap loop on both ends. Actually, I could do it by adding a bead in between so it didn't look so long. But you could use that, a wrap loop here instead of the jump ring, if you know how to do that. Then just maybe slide a bead on before you do the closing wrap loop, and that will take care of so it doesn't look like just wire. But I'm just going to keep going so that we don't delay this. And I'm going to add a second jump ring. And this is the jump ring I'm going to add the wire through. Or not the wire, but the leather. And I'm going to put one on the other side as well. And so again, I'm just opening with that twisting motion. Hi, Christine. Thanks for joining. How are you? Hopefully you're having a good weekend. Thanks for coming by. All right, so now we've got those. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add the leather. And I have a bit of leather here. I'm going to measure to see this necklace. I'm going to say, hi, Dondra. Thanks for joining. I'm glad you could join us. For length, I don't want this really long. I tend to like the shorter necklaces. So I'm going to say maybe 20 inches tops for this. So let's measure. This was my grandmother's measuring tape that my mom gave me. So I keep that in my purse. So I'm just using that. And so 20 inches, and then you can figure that the clasp is going to add a little bit. I hope I'm saying this right. Hi, Elia. If I'm not saying it right, let me know. Thanks for joining. And so I'm going to measure each side, maybe, 9 inches, right around there. So, and I want extra to do the, hi Jerry. I'm going to do extra to do the ends. So let's do, so I'm using probably about 14 inches. Hi Carol. Awesome. So glad to see all you guys. And I'm just going to trim. You can use scissors or your cutters, either or. And then I'm just going to cut the second piece while I'm at it. All right. So we got that. So I got the two pieces of leather. The other thing I have is I have some waxed cotton cord, and I'm going to use this to secure the leather. And I like it because it has it's darker than the leather. So when I tie it, it's going to be visible and add a little bit of contrast to the leather. And then it, blends nicely with the shell. So I thought I would use that. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of this. And for this, I'm going to need 4 pieces because we have to do 2 ends. So I'm just going to do 2 ends on each side, I should say. So I'm just going to cut them all while I'm at it. So there's 1. And here's 2. And here's 3. And they don't have to be exact. It's totally fine if they're not. I'm just cutting extra so that I've got room to work with. And then we'll get that out of the way. All right. Okay. And then I can get the measuring tape out of the way. And the extra leather. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the leather through the jump ring on one side. And I'm going to use a clip just to secure it. And what did I do with my clip? Here it is. But you can use a clothespin if you have some sort of clamp. This came with my Naughty Do-It-All board. And so I use these a lot just because they're so handy. And I want to pinch it so that they're on top of one another. If I can get them to lay that way. And you want to do it carefully because you don't want it to pinch the leather and leave marks in it. All right, so I've got one side done, so we can go ahead and secure one side and then we'll move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a coil knot with the waxed cotton around the leather to secure it. And this works really well. And you can use you can use a pencil, you can use just something to hold space while you're wrapping the coil around. And that way, when you pull the pencil out or the pin, whatever you're using, it's going to leave room for you to slide the leather through. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Okay. So we've got, you see the four wraps right there, all right? So now I'm just going to pull the pin out, but I'm still holding the form with my fingers. And I'm just going to push this one through this direction. And then I'm going to push the other one through the opposite direction. And it just comes right out just like that. And then I'm just going to pull together to secure. And before you pull it completely tight, make sure that you slide this to exactly where you want it. Now I'm going to remove that clip so I can try to get the leather on top of itself before I pull it secure. And if you feel like you want to put a little bit of glue in before you secure it, you can definitely do that. Oh, thanks, Christine. I didn't invent this, but it is definitely a great way to secure something, and it just gives it a nice look. So once I trim, you can see that you're going to have a nice coiled knot, and it just looks nice and neat and finished. And then we'll trim the excess. So I'm just going to trim just to make sure. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. And then let's just cut this excess stuff out of the way. So I'm going to take my scissors and carefully trim without trimming anything you're not supposed to. And go ahead and put a little tension on it so that you can get close. And make sure you're using a nice sharp pair of scissors so you don't have any frayed pieces. I'm going to trim the leather too, just pulling with a little bit of tension. And then we're going to do this side. But I love these knots. And if you're using a cord that is waxed, you know, it's naturally going to grip on here. So it makes it handy. So on here, you can see where I trimmed the leather. The trick to this is take a Sharpie marker, and I don't have one nearby, but take a Sharpie marker and just put it on the leather, and it'll cover up the bright spot, you know, where you see where it was cut, and it'll hide that, so it just looks a little bit neater. Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next step, and then we'll do the other side the same way. So now we're going to put on some of the melon beads, and I wasn't sure if I was going to put some spacers on with it, but we're going to see. So those are going to be cute. But let's see what it looks like with a spacer on first. And the melon beads are large hole, which makes it nice because then you can use it with the leather without any problems. And let's see. So I like it better with the bead. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. All right. And if you guys have been enjoying the group and the projects, please, you know, share, let people know that we're here and we do these every Sunday. So we enjoy having you here. Hi, Ann Gardian's here. Thanks for joining. You know, but, you know, let people know that we're here and they can come join in on the fun. And if you guys ever have suggestions for projects you want to see, or maybe something you don't know how to do and you're wondering if I can show you, if it's something I'm able to do, I'm happy to show you. So don't be shy. All right. So we're going to put a few of these on. I'm not going to stir. I just want a few of the, I'm going to cut my leather at an angle so that it strings better. I'm just going to put a few of the melon beads at each side. Good evening, Dawn. Thanks for joining. And I just want them to show a little bit in the front, and then, yeah, just add a little bit of character. I might add 3 or 4, but I really don't think I'll add any more than that. Okay. So, well, thanks for joining, everybody. So good to see you all. Happy that you're here, and I really appreciate that you come in and take the time to watch. All right, so let's do one more, see what it looks like. And again, these are, this has got part of the price tag in it, so I'll take that out. I'll use a different one. These are Czech glass beads. If you missed me saying that earlier, they're melon beads, and we've got them in a couple different color options. But I picked these because of the lines on them have that copper color, and I thought it would go nice with the leather. And we have these rings in 4 different metals. You don't have to have copper. I tend to use copper a lot. So, okay, so let's see. So I like that. I think that's enough. So we're gonna leave that. Now with this, we have a couple options. We could put a knot here so that the beads don't move, or we could, you know, just leave them free and let them slide if they want to. So for now, I think I'm just going to put a loose knot so that they don't slide off while I'm working on this. Debbie, yes, you can view later. Absolutely. So any of the videos stay in the group, And if you look over on the left-hand side where it says videos, you'll be able to go down through the entire list, and you'll see all the videos that I've done since the group started. So yeah, they'll always be here. You can definitely watch later on. But I love having you guys here so that I can chat with you and answer your questions live. But you have to do what works with your schedule. So I totally get that. But thanks for asking. All right, so we've got the one piece of leather. So now let's do the other side, and we're going to string the leather through the jump ring. And you see how on this one I've got that the cut piece is on the back side. So I want to string this so that this one is on the back side as well, just so it's not as visible. All right, and I'm just going to fold it over, and then I'm just going to grab my clamp again that I used from my Naughty Do-It-All, just to hold it together while I do a secure wrap on this. And I'm just putting that on gently so that it doesn't, leave teeth marks in the leather. And then I have this waxed cotton cord that I pre-cut, not pre-cut, but I cut just a little bit earlier in the video. And this is 1 millimeter waxed cotton. It comes on a card like this. It really goes a long way. And we have it in different sizes and different colors. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that wrap again. So I'm going to use that pin. This came with my Naughty Do-It-All as well, but you could use a pencil, just something to hold space. All right. And then I'm just going to coil. If you remember, I had 4 coils when I did it on the other side. So I want to make sure that I do that same amount on this side. All right. So there's 2. And here's 3. And that's 4. So I want to make sure it's not tangled up on the jump ring. All right. Okay. So you see I can get my thumbs out of the way. You see the 4 wraps here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So now I'm just going to pinch with my fingers to hold the space, and I'm going to pull that pin out, the pick, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to take one piece of the cotton cord and run it through towards the left. And it's catching on the leather on this side, so we're going to fight with that in just a second. But while I've got the other piece in my hand, I'm going to run it through the other direction. All right, so you see it's coming out up here. So we got one side. And then the other end came out. There we go. All right, so I've got my 2 ends. And I'm just going to gently pull so that they're, but I'm not pulling tight, but I just want to pull to get them secure. And then I'm just going to remove the clip to get it out of the way. And then I want to try to line things up as neatly as possible. Hi, Hazel. Thanks for joining from the UK. Good to see you back. So we're making a necklace tonight with some leather and some cotton cord, waxed cotton cord. All right. So now I'm just pulling this tight. And so now you have another, nice, neat coil knot. And I know that the waxed cotton doesn't match the leather, but I did that on purpose. I wanted it to stand out and show a little bit of contrast so that not everything looks the same. And so now I'm going to carefully trim. Now, you can put a little bit of glue, like I said earlier, before you pull the coils tight. This is a waxed cord, so I didn't feel like I have to on this, but it won't hurt if you do. I'll say that. Some people like to use glue, some don't, so that's totally all right. And then I've got this leather, and I'm going to just trim that. And again, same thing with this, where it's cut, just take a Sharpie marker and just cover up that light leather, and you won't see, it won't stand out as much. Okay. So now let's get this in place. And now that matches the other side. Oh, this is going to be so cute. All right, so now we're going to just string so that it matches the other side. So I started with a spacer. And again, I'm going to trim my leather at an angle. And by the way, I will say these are my favorite scissors. They're serrated, and so they work great. If you've ever cut fireline, you know what I'm talking about when you try to get a nice clean cut and it doesn't fray. These scissors work great with that. I also use them with the leather. All right, and Ceylon, I do a lot with Ceylon. That's the thing too. If you don't have the waxed cord, you could, for doing the coils, you could use Ceylon for that. If you have Ceylon at home, that would totally work as well. All right, so I'm going to put a spacer bead. And then, what kind of scissors? These are... We have them at the store. It doesn't say the name. It says quality scissors with file cap. But I will, I'll check and get they're stainless steel. I will check and get the true name of them. But they have a cord that connects the cap, and it just slides in so that they're always protected. So if anybody's watching from the store and you know the name, please chime in. Otherwise, I'll post the true name of them because they are really nice scissors. Thanks for asking that, Christine. Okay. And then if you have scissors that you use for your crafting and jewelry making, how many of you hide them so other people in your family don't use them and dull them? If you know what I'm talking about, give me some thumbs up. All right, so I'm just got a couple more here to put on. If you happen to be watching this on the replay later and you have questions, post them in the comments and I'll still see them later. Yes, fireline is tough to cut. It is very tough to cut, especially trying to get a clean edge. So that's why I was so impressed with these scissors, because they don't leave that white end. Okay. So I just want to fix this jump ring because it's main. There we go. So you could even stop here and not even add anything else to the necklace, and that would be really cute. Just with that bit, and then have the leather on the back side, just a short piece. So there's one option right there. But I think this is going to be adorable. All right. So now we're going to get some of this stuff out of the way so I can better see. And I don't think I want to put a knot. I just did this one so the beads wouldn't come off. But you could put a knot at the end, but I think I'm going to leave it and let the beads move around the way they want. But while you're wearing it, they're going to naturally stay in the front. Okay. So on one end, what we're going to need to do is do we're going to do the clasp. And then on the other end, we're going to make a loop with the leather. So let's do the clasp first. So if you pay attention to when you put jewelry on the necklace, you're always doing the clasp with your right hand. So you want to make sure that you're putting the clasp on the right side if you were wearing it. So I'm going to want to put the clasp on this side because this is the front, because remember the back side shows where I trimmed the leather. So spin this around. Okay. So we're going to do kind of the same thing with this, but I want to measure first on length so that we get both sides the same. And remember, I want this necklace to be around, 20 inches. So we're going to use my grandma's measuring tape again. Love it. And so we've got 10 inches here. And then, but we're going to deduct for the clasp. The clasp is going to take up over an inch by itself, almost an inch and a half. So I definitely don't want to go further than 9 inches. And I'm measuring not necessarily from the leather, but from where the pendant starts. Because the pendant is taking up space as well. So that's another, so definitely 9.5. So I'm going to say 9 inches. So here's where I want to be. And I'm just going to kind of put a little mark with my nails so I know where that is. And I'm going to slide on this clasp. And I'm going to come down to where that mark is that I put with my nail. And that's where I want the hook to be. All right. So same thing here. I'm going to use that little clip and we're going to do another coil knot. I can put it down further here because I have more room. And I've already got the waxed cotton pre-cut. And we're just going to take that little handy dandy pin to make the space. And we're just going to wrap. So I always just start underneath. I put it in the middle. And you could just start on one side if you didn't want to wrap both sides. You could just go and wrap one. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm just going to double check, make sure I've got 4. I do. So I'm going to pinch to hold the space. I'm going to put this one through first because it is shorter because I just wrapped with one side and not both. And then I'm going to pinch to keep the shape and then run this through the other side. And if it starts to close up on you, just take your pin, like I can take this and put it back in to kind of open it up again, and then keep pushing that leather through. And it's getting caught on the other piece of leather that I had pushed through. So, okay. So now I got one side, got the other side. So it's starting to, form the nice, I always pull it slow to make sure that I'm controlling it and it's going where I want it to go. Before I pull it tight, I'm going to slide it down. And if you preferred to add glue, this is when you do it. Put the glue on the leather here and then pull the coil over it and then pull snug. But I'm not going to use glue. All right, and I'm just double checking, making sure it's secure here. All right, so now we're going to trim. And the other side, we're going to do the same thing, but we're not going to use a jump ring. We're going to make a loop out of the leather. I just thought that might look kind of neat. Take my clamp off. And make sure you're paying attention and you're cutting the right end of the leather. Don't cut the one that is part of your necklace. We've all had accidents like that, I'm sure. Now this is a short piece, but hang on to it. You could definitely use it later on to make matching earrings. So I keep a little bucket of leather scraps that I can use in the future. So always hang on to stuff like that. All right, so that's one side. And now we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to measure this again just to make sure I know exactly how long it is now so that I can make the other side match. I'm going to measure, whoops, I'm going to measure from the clasp, and it's 9 inches. Exactly what I was aiming for. All right, so now I'm going to pull up my other tool here to do the next part. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to clear off some of this. Slide some of this stuff out of the way. What do you guys think so far? Do you like it? If you do, hit the like sign. It's in the, you should see little icons that have like a smiley face or a heart or a like. Hit that. Let me know. Corky says, let me hit the comment so I can see the whole thing. Perhaps using a steel crochet hook for space holder would work. As you pull out the hook, you could loop the end to bring it through. Great idea. That would totally work, Corky. Thank you for mentioning that. But yeah, you could totally do that. Oh, look at the hearts. People like it. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. All right. So I got to move my tools here. Bear with me. Okay. So you guys saw me use this last week. I'm going to use it again just to secure the end. Hazel says, looking good. Sophia says, beautiful colors. Thank you, Sophia. Good to see you. Glad you joined us. And we're going to use this just to secure the end to make that loop. Oh, actually, honestly, I really didn't even need to do that because I changed my mind now. I was going to do the leather. So we can do this the same way. So let me just move this so it's not a distraction. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're just going to measure for the 9 inches, and we're going to make a loop, and then we're going to do that coil knot again. But this time when I do the coil knot, I want to slide it down further. And okay, so here's the 9 inches, and I'm just making a mark here just so I can remember where I need to be. So I'm going to fold here where I want that loop to be. And you could do a couple things. You could do the coil. You could do an overhand knot with the loop. Let's see what that looks like. And then I think I would want to slide it up a little bit so it's not quite so big. That's probably still a little bit bigger than what we really need. Hazel's watching from a rather wet northeast UK. It's raining there, huh? I think, isn't your weather normally like that? Rainy? Sometimes dreary? All right. So now, so what do you guys think? Do you think, obviously I would trim this. I could even add some of the dark cord around the bottom part here. But what do you think about leaving the overhand knot for the loop? Do you like that? Let's give it a try. And then let's just check the length again. Make sure I'm not too far off. All right, so I do have a discrepancy in length. So I pulled this one down too far. So we can easily change that. And I'm just going to use this here to kind of try to loosen it up. I should have checked the length before I pulled it tight. There we go. Been really hot for a good couple of weeks, and the last few days been awful with thunder and lightning. Yeah, storms. I like a good thunder and lightning storm, though. But we had a streak of, very humid weather, and I was glad to see it go. And we've had cooler nights. Okay, so when I'm doing this, obviously the leather's going to be shorter because of the clasp here. Great for ducks. Yeah. But I want the leather to line up in the same spot as the other side so that it hangs evenly. So we're just adjusting this, making sure that the pendant isn't twisted. And you can measure and make it exact. I'm just eyeballing it because that's how I do it. But so let's try again with a knot. But I'm not going to make it as big. And then before I make it any tighter, All right. So then once we finish this, all we have left to do is do the pendant. And then we are done. Okay, that's pretty close. So I'm just gonna pull this up to secure it. And we're gonna use that for the loop. So, and then you've got, you know, less components, less cost into your piece, because you don't need to use a jump ring for that. And then we're gonna use the wax cotton to put a coil knot on this end. Even though it's secure, I just want the two ends to match and both have that waxed cotton on the end. So that's why I'm doing that. So we're going to do it the same way. Let me just do it backwards here. And we're going to wrap it around 4 times. So there's 1, slipping out of my fingers here. There's 2. And then I'm going to wrap the other side. 3 and 4. Let me just make sure I don't have too many. I got too many wraps, so I'm going to undo 1. Make sure they're all lined up nicely. All right, there we go. We got it. And then I'm just going to pull this out. And I know my fingers are in the way, but I'm going to slide this through where that pin was holding the space. And I've got that through one way, so I don't have to pull it the whole way. And then I'm going to do the other side. There we go. And then just start to pull slowly to get it to prevent it from coming undone. And I just want to make sure it's up near the end. And so it's in place where I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a secure pull. And again, if you wanted to glue, you would have put a little bit of glue in before you pulled it tight. And now we're going to trim. What did I do with my scissors? I moved them. All right. So we're just going to trim this carefully. Put a little bit of tension. I want to cut the other leather. And these scissors have a nice pointy tip, so it's easier to get in where I need to get in. All right. And then the last thing is to trim the leather here. So I'm going to pull the good piece out of the way. Little tension. All right. So here's what we've got. And then the leather is going to slide over that hook in the back. Sophia says, request of patience, but looks great. You know, I don't even think about it because this is so relaxing to me. It's like my therapy that I don't get frustrated. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is I thought it would be fun to add a dangle off of the front. Now you could leave it plain just the way it is. I like it this way as well. But I thought it would be fun to add this and then maybe add in another melon bead. And we could put the melon bead at the top, but I was thinking maybe put it at the bottom. So for that, I'm just going to grab a piece of wire, and the wire I'm going to use is just 20 gauge non-tarnish antique copper. We have wire in all different sizes. Hazel says, great color combination. Thank you. Of course, by now I'm sure you guys figured out how much I like copper, so I tend to use it a lot. But you can use any color metal you want. We have all different colored wires. The Crescent component you can get in different colors. So feel free to change it up. All right, so I'm going to trim off a piece of wire. I'm using my flush cutters. I'm cutting with the flat side towards the piece of work that I'm keeping, because that's where I want the flush cut. And I'm just going to make a little pin out of the bottom of this. So I'm going to take, and what I mean by that is I don't have a ball head pin. So I'm just going to make something on the end that will prevent it from, the bead from coming off, if that makes sense. So I'm just putting it in my pliers like this, and then I folded it over. Okay, so it's not sticking out the other side. It's just in the middle of the plier. So I got that little hook, right? And then I'm going to take that hook and my plier, and I'm just going to gently, if I can hold it steady here, gently pinch. It's curving on me. All right, so then I've got that little loop. And then let's see if one of the spacers stops on it. That's a little bit too small. And let's check one of the beads. And I'm just pulling on it to see if that's going to come off. And I don't think it is, so that works. It is a little bit crooked though, so I'm going to grab this and pull it down. And then this bead kind of covers up the loop completely. Not the loop, but the edge of the loop. It covers up the hook. So all you see is a little loop on the end, which makes it look a little bit nicer. Now, if you want to angle it so it looks better, just take a pair of chain nose, and I'm just giving it a little bend. Christine says you could have also used round nose pliers, right? Yes, you could. You could make a simple loop, but I wanted this to be less obvious, but you could totally do a simple loop on the end and be done. That works as well. All right, so now I'm still going to add another spacer because the melon beads have large holes and I don't want the round bead to go through the melon bead. So we've got that. And then let's add another spacer. And, oh, thanks, Ann and Christine. And then let's put the shell on and see what that looks like. And this is a Czech glass shell bead. And so I just thought that would be fun to put right in the front. And I like that. The melon bead moves around a little bit, but that's okay. If I can get this tight and secure when I do the loop, it'll hold it into place. So let's stick with that. I love it. Thanks, Christine. So I'm going to make the loop so that it goes away from the bead. It probably will still spin around. Just getting my other tools here. It'll still spin around, but and I'm just going to snap this over the crescent. I have to open it a little bit more. There we go. And I'm just gonna, I want to make this kind of, messy. So I'm going to just pinch. And I'm just gonna coil around and let it do whatever it wants. And I'll see if I can hold it up here so I can get closer to the top. All right, and so remember I had a front and a back where with the leather where I didn't want those pieces to show. So I'm just going to double check that, and I'm going to trim my wire on the back side where that doesn't show as well. And I'm cutting again with the flat side towards the pendant. And then I'm just going to use my pliers to kind of tuck that down so it doesn't, poke whoever wears it. All right. And hopefully, I'll bring this down so you can see the back, but that is the finished piece. If I can get it all in the frame and get the beads lined up with the pendant. Kind of fun. What do you guys think? You like it? But just wanted to do something, something simple, but using the melon beads because I haven't done anything with those. And I also wanted to, use that hook with making the loop out of the leather itself instead of using a jump ring. Obviously with leather, over time, it would wear, but you could easily replace the leather and do it again. So, but just gives it a different look, different option. And some people see these and they're not sure how to use them. So I wanted to share that. Oh, thanks, Leah and Christine. And these too, these are also handy. They would be fun to put on a necklace and secure it at the top and then have this dangle down with some charms or something hanging off of it. Some dangles, some chains. So just keep in mind you don't have to use this as a clasp. All right. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. Just wanted to mention two things real quick. We still have our sale going on. If you guys didn't catch it, our Whimsical Wednesday is on vacation through the month of August. So we have a weekly sale going on every week. It's something new. So this week's sale is still happening through Tuesday. And it's on findings, plated findings and stainless steel. So that would be, clasps, jump rings, head pins, all the things that you need to finish your jewelry. So definitely go in and take advantage of that. It's 20% off. And check that out. Also, this coming Saturday is our design du jour for the month of August. And Barb, is it the Saturday? Let me just double check the date. What is this Saturday's date? Here we go. August. This is the third Saturday. I want to make sure. It's our design du jour project, and Barb has put together a cute bracelet that's called Not Just Beads bracelet. It's $14. The class is free. You stop in between 10:30 and 1:30 to put that together. So you'll have a lot of fun with that. And so check that out. Again, it's the third Saturday in August. So just wanted to mention those things. Thanks again for joining and hanging out with me. I really enjoyed it. I'll be back again next Sunday with another new project. And stop in and check out our Raku trunk show. If you don't know what Raku is, look at last week's project video. I made a necklace using the Raku beads and a pendant. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.